Hey, daily update the Mamunina Koraba Sene, the National South National Song subscribe. Yes, it's a Ben Summer, and be the boss on Sapos Wakanyama and Koswagana Fanian as wedding. Who dear be our phone, yes, or be the Bussian for young Fanny Chimney Mamu dear Cosway. Sabrian Kobe Bia, in the Nimbechimu away Parliament House. In Nema air cost was the CS speaking in Yas and Ketra. And net the Parliament House why Butu Paya just a NPP fool. NPP MP such as Omujino Mama Ayako for the Nebaumia. And I say the current government the majority leaders and I say MPs in Parliament no. Omona Sisi no Omochwa Omo Queen. Wine. Agyapong and Sylvester the archers say Omumi and Nina Yen penny for more Parliament or Enyas and Ketonazo so. Dem kwa nesi asam penny for me and no atejina. Some person made the umbrecon archese, and ye or more who ni pay na between more can you see the enye. A book of video after that, no, a Iddrisu sorry, Eddie, a symbia to dry a exposed by just or no, or chess a cofford and coffee G's kept some rabbi in so potable water, my a Ghana for now. So as you speaking on, says all the money chin when you come where in so crack a canon being in so cacomunia bino. Wakama NPP phone bikra ache se e afunye makins grandpa by the babe second no yango ready
effort to a particular compliment to the science and the lady who holds the science Yes, I'd like to compliment and commend the lady who organizes the science. A number of science lecturers have been mentioned here as contributing towards the improvement of women in science. And I would like to particularly name the effort being made by KNUST Faculty of Science by ensuring that science students, women or girls in science are identified at an early stage. I'm looking at the situation where they go to the local schools. I'm talking to the
Let me thank you for the opportunity to make a statement on the acute water shortage in Tamale. Mr. Speaker, thank you for this rare opportunity. And the matter relates to an acute water shortage in Tamale, a crisis that affects the daily lives of our constituents in the greater Tamale metropolis and its environs. And the acute water shortage has gripped our city, leaving our beloved people parched and desperate. Mr. Speaker, that has occasioned some immense hardship and impacting negatively on every aspect of life in the Tamale city, whether from Gujatua, Kudula through Lameshegu through Sanarago through Kobrimagu Kuku, or whether through Kutongle or Palsi or Sakasaka or Sognail or Sabonjira, the problem remains the same. And our people are seen carrying what is popularly known as the Kufuor gallons in search for water. Mr. Speaker, many of the communities have not even seen pipe-borne water in the last few years. In some areas for 2 years, no rain. And many of the rural areas, such as Toto, Yapala, Zo, Namzo, Kapaile, have to rely on dam water in order to be able to access potable water. Mr. Speaker, almost all the Tamale water projects have suffered delays. I do know that government came in with some 272 million euro as that there will be further development on the Bywater International Limited water project, which was added, and to move it to Yapi so that access could be expanded even to affect areas like Damango. Mr. Speaker, Tamale is fast growing, considered one of the fastest growing cities in West Africa, and is becoming a major problem for many of us members of parliament in that particular area. Mr. Speaker, I want to government to consider declaring water scarce zone, allocate emergency resources to address the immediate needs of residents in the Tamale metropolis, and then deploy emergency water relief supply. The Ghana Water Company can ration water around the community. It may alleviate the suffering of the people. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the water shortage in Tamale is a humanitarian crisis demanding urgent attention by government. I thank you for the opportunity.
I'm happy my colleague, the Deputy Majority Leader, is here. It is also evident that the cost of producing, dishing, and then maintenance of our water systems keep going up and up. And this is simply because the source of the water the raw water that we treat is becoming contaminated. Galamsey is of this and other farming practices that we all know. This, it is always going to be the excuse of government to say that it is expensive to produce and distribute water. And it's not unusual, Mr. Speaker, when communities cry for water, including my own community sometimes, and the water arrives. The next complaint you hear them say is, it's expensive, we can't pay. And then we hear Ghana Water Company is, stopping supply to a school or hospital and other things. Is it not the case that we all know that whilst it's not necessary and it shouldn't happen that water supply is cut to a hospital, it is also the case that the water that is sent to the schools and hospitals and our homes is not free. In fact, the Ghana Water Company need to pay electricity bill. So we all need to take steps to make sure that the resource that we call water is finite. I'm not sure God is creating new water. The water that we deserve to survive on this planet is already here. It's either underground or running on the surface or in the clouds. But if we don't take steps to protect them, Mr. Speaker, we shall wake up, and the reason communities will fight each other will be because others have access to water and others don't have. So it is important we take these steps today. Mr. Speaker, it's ironic that the country that have rivers to Lake Volta running from the north to the south still have significant number of people in this country without access to water. And sometimes even if they have access to water, Mr. Speaker, there's a UNICEF report that says that 76% of people who use raw water, when they consume that water contains fecal matter because of another practice of sanitary in our country. What that leads to is other waterborne diseases that we need extra money to treat, because when people are sick, it becomes a public health issue that we need to treat. So, Mr. Speaker, the issue raised by Honorable Haruna is very critical. But I must say, it is not a Tamale specific issue. Tamale is a big growth center, and this issue in this house, we have passed agreements to increase water supply in Tamale. I think the Committee on Works and Housing ought to be telling us what is happening to some of those projects and funding projects that are not going on that we know. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this is a very important thing. I'm not sure there's anyone in this house who doesn't see this statement as a statement that could easily have been made on behalf of his community, because water, even if it's available to you, its cost is becoming and the day it becomes annual will be the day it becomes a national security crisis, and we have enough time to address it now, which also calls for us as citizens to protect the raw water sources we have, so that the distribution companies can produce water at an affordable rate and distribute to our homes and businesses. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Tamale Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to this important statement made by my senior brother, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu, the MP for Tamale South. Mr. Speaker, the challenges confronting Tamale South is not different from the challenges confronting the other three constituencies in Tamale, particularly on the issue of water. Mr. Speaker, this problem has been with us for some time now, and as the Honorable mentioned, it has affected every aspect of the life of the people living in Tamale. Students now go to school very late because they find it extremely difficult to access water.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on this all-important matter before us as a House. Mr. Speaker, water is life, and the absence thereof has its own implications on human lives. I therefore call on the sector minister, the Ghana Water Company, and national security. They have an R2P unit. They have an R2P unit. So if they can work together on this matter. But Honorable Ahi said something very positive, which he did when Winneba experienced a similar situation. And this is the umpteenth time he has repeated it. The umpteenth time he's repeated it. It is good, because at least it goes to strengthen that collaboration between government and opposition. That if we work together, we would achieve a lot. So I would again thank you for what you did for the people of Ifutu. At the time you had the opportunity, you provided us with. That was because I came to your office, I reached out to you. So, leader, I would pray you to reach out to your colleagues there. Fortunately, Dr. Brahma is your own colleague. Both of you share the same esprit du corps. So I'm sure if you engage him, you will be able to get some fed. However, Mr. Speaker, the brief time I said as chair of Ghana, we had some reports, and I would want us to discuss it. You know, the report from the area at the time, I don't know whether it's still prevailing, was that some residents were doing some illegal connection, and it was affecting revenue, and it was affecting distribution. Because you know you have an old system, and Tamale has grown, and the feds are getting access. Some are diverting the water source into their homes in certain areas. So that is a major problem. And Mr. Speaker, if we as political leaders don't discuss this, then who else will? So I think we also have to educate our people. If you go to Winneba, we had a similar problem. The southeast roundabout area, people were tapping water into their homes illegally. Others were not getting the
It's a business for winning video tia wa just say dia ba ya bo amama ho. I think say won nyina hu die Kesi a Agyapong po fuyi power pa just say on ti jai o si njana no mbosa NP. Dia mama pa ne say MP so NPP ni minim say ya obene shini mo peso heden ogwasa NPP our parliament baby angofo wi omushia eshembra Magana for Iddrisu. Some penny for Mudi and Omi BC or Parliament. In him they see, and in him they see behind the scenes and more baho. In him they saw Makumum and Sana Sani Manisia, just in your Yakushi video nothing so sono. Haruna some of the two judges, Galam say, their essay shoe. I say, also almost 3 years in the Krumo, Nipebu. Pipe water crown or moon for many who be that be 2 years in so why thing or so I say what this answer me to jano in a NPP and this MPs for any be more colors as I'm near thing and no crack and dear coso now so no uncle for Marco Jessica say on the bay potable water now so no you heard the AC winning near my dead Yakochan batches also so why the Washaka. Put my comment section as well, drop your comments. The person can be ano. Put my drop on answer already. The thing being one subscribing also the Hana on Sabako can you make us on TSS or Benesama is in the bars on Sabako Kim as well. They won't near my cost organ of Nina. Bushan for some baby. Honey, Pesi, the Musi.